WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, often reviewing rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have a discontinued whiskey, the Balvenie 17-year-old Doublewood. Now this is Whiskybase number 175383. This was actually bottled on the 15th of May 2020. And it has 43%. Now, this is difficult to say what the price is. I did a bottle share. It was 189 euros. Online, I find these between 200 and 400 euros. And I think the original price used to be around 120. What happened? Balvenie discontinued in 2021. And so, therefore, this is now a collector's item. This is now something many people are looking for. And discontinued products, of course, can be sold for a higher price than you originally paid for, because there's collectors, there's drinkers, there's people who just love this, and they're just willing to pay a little bit more for it. So there actually was a... was it 2020? It was 2022, wasn't it? All right, good. I don't remember. But there was actually it was during COVID. There was a virtual Speyside festival on that day. Balvenie, it was their turn. And the global brand ambassador, Gemma, together with someone else, the distillery manager said, hey, we're discontinuing this. And then it went through the press and there was a run on the bottles. And today they're very, very sought after. Let's just say that. All right, so Balvenie prides itself basically on 5 big things here. The very, very first thing they pride themselves on is their grain. They have malt floors. Now, between 5 and 10% of the barley used at Balvenie is actually made on those malt floors. They suggest that it's much more, and I hate it when they try to push us in a certain direction to believe something that's not true. They talk about their homegrown barley. Even less of that is homegrown. So there are very, very few bottlings of any of their homegrown barley. But they pride themselves on having homegrown barley and malting floors. Less than 10% of the whiskey distilled is from the malting floor and or from their malted barley themselves. They have copper stills. Well, every single distillery in Scotland has copper stills. It's the law. All right. So, and then they talk about the coopers. And that's interesting because they have, according to my research, in 2022, 2023, they had 10 coopers on site and they have 5 apprentices that are learning to become master coopers. Now, that's great. However... what does a cooper do in Scotland? Do they build barrels? No, they don't make barrels. They repair barrels. Now, in Portugal and Spain, they make barrels. In America, they make barrels. What do the coopers in Scotland do? They repair barrels. All right, it's not bad. It's nothing wrong with that, but it's just something I wanted to mention here. All right, so if you go, for example, to the Speyside cooperage. They actually, I visited them, I did the tour, it's beautiful. They repair and rejuvenate about 72,500 barrels a year. All right, so a normal barrel can go up to about 70, even longer years there in the industry. There are over 20 million whiskey barrels in circulation in Scotland at the moment. Now, Speyside Cooperage isn't the only one with their people that work there. There used to be in the 60s about 1,000 coopers. Now, today, there's between 200 and 300 coopers, depending on what numbers you want to actually believe there. And that's including the people that are being apprentices. So that's their number one job, is to take a look at an old barrel, replace some staves, replace the heads, make sure they're okay. Sometimes their job will be today it's even less than it used to be 20 years ago, would be take 5 bourbon barrel staves and make it into 4 hogsheads. Today it's basically rejuvenating and repairing casks. Now that's an art. It's a craft. It's great that we have that. but bourbon, the barrels are made often someplace else. Now, David Stewart used to be the Balvenie malt master. Now it's Chelsea. Chelsea's been doing this now for about 3 years. Excellent, great that we have that. Now, I'm going to go over and I'm going to ruffle some feathers here with this comparison. I'm going to compare it to an old Glendronach 12-year-old. Why? First of all, it's 43%. 43%. And I think here we have European oak. Here we have European oak as well. Here we have sherry. Here we have sherry. I think the comparison is adequate because I believe that this is equivalent or better to this. Now, I do not have the new Glendronach 12-year-old. I do know that there's been changes. Rachel Berry has made some changes. Brown-Forman just recently closed down the Glenglassaugh distillery in Scotland. People are worried about that. Fans of Ben Riach hate Brown-Forman because what they've done here to Ben Riach and the new designs, the new bottlings that they have, the old ones they loved with Billy Walker, the new ones they're like, why? I don't need to buy that stuff. And even the prices of Glendronach have just skyrocketed, exploded, just been so out of this world. Now, to be very, very honest, I've said this many times, I'll repeat myself, I think the prices for the Glendronach 18 and 21 under Billy Walker were actually underpriced. You are getting sometimes 25, 27-year-old whiskey for 80 euros. That's just unbelievable even back then. Now the prices today are like, hey, I'm not buying it. I'm not going to buy it. I actually did just recently a online blind tasting here with 6 different bottles of sherry. Sherry cask with matured Scotch, and one of them was the 21-year-old Glendronach. It almost lost. It was number 5 of the 6. We just did not like it. It was funky. It was weird. Now the 18-year-old Glendronach was much, much better, but still it wasn't wow. And so I think this bottle is still underrated, the Glendronach 12. I do know that I have the old version, says non-chilled filtered still on the tin, the tube here. I know the new one doesn't. I used to pay 38 euros. I'm now paying 50 euros for this. This is a 200 euro bottle. I can get literally 5 or 4 today of these for one of these. And that's something I really just have to remember here. Does this mention anything about natural color? I did not see anything on this. Did it say anything about, even says mit Farbstoff, mit Zuckercouleur. So it actually has artificial coloring, E150A added to it. 43%, does it say anywhere here non-chilled filtered? No. All right, and so here at least we have non-chilled filtered, and we have the word natural color on here. So this is in it. Used to be on integrity malt. Today it might not be. On the nose, vanilla, milk chocolate, a little bit of cinnamon, nutmeg, and wood. Over here, the Glendronach. More of a berry potpourri and a little bit more of dark chocolate with a tad bit of vanilla fudge added in for good flavor. On the nose, this seems smoother. This seems more fruity and interesting. Now, the Balvenie 17 Doublewood was not actually, I'm going to say, targeted towards us whiskey geeks and connoisseurs. This was geared and targeted more towards the businessman that wanted an age statement and wanted to impress colleagues. At least I started out my whiskey journey with Glendronach 12 and Balvenie Doublewood 12. Great, great products. And then it's like, oh, you want to move up? Then we have the 17-year-old. Now, what does Balvenie have today? I'm just going to name some of the products, and you can tell me basically what of these products would be of interest to you. All right, I'm going to name the German prices I have to pay. Balvenie Doublewood, 12-year-old, 50 plus euros. Balvenie Caribbean Cask, 14 years of age, 70 euros. Balvenie Portwood, 21 years of age, 250 euros. Balvenie American Oak Sweet Toast, 12 years of age, over 55 euros. Balvenie Week of Peat, 14 years, 85 euros. Balvenie Single Barrel First Fill Bourbon, interesting, 65 euros, 70 euros. I just did a video about that as well. Balvenie French Oak, 16-year-old, 150 euros. Balvenie Stories Week of Peat, the 17-year-old, 150 euros. Balvenie Madeira Cask Finish, 15-year-old, 150 euros. Balvenie American Bourbon Barrel, 14 years of age, 100 euros. The Balvenie PX Cask, 18-year-old, 240 euros. And we have something I don't know about yet, and that is the Balvenie Golden Cask 12. It is actually ex-bourbon finished in ex-rum casks for 75 euros. I missed that for some reason. Well, that's something new for me. All right, good. So it's now part of their core range, Madeira, Pedro Jimenez, Portwood, and now they have that rum, that golden cask. Good. Let's try these, shall we? Slunchen. I almost always get a certain amount of sourness with Balvenie. I don't know how they do it. I don't know if it's part of their yeast or part of their fermentation or part of their barrel system or part of their filtration system, but I always get sourness. It's almost tart. Now, it comes in at the very beginning, it's almost watery. It's thin. Let's just use the word thin. It's 43%. Am I a cask strength? Do I love cask strength? Yes. Does that be cask strength? No. But this is a little thin. And then that just develops a wonderful milk chocolate, a little bit of fudge, a little bit of cherry, a little bit of clove and cinnamon, and then that dissipates a little bit. And then I'm left with that sour tart moment here. There is a fairly long finish. Now, I'm complaining, and yet I'm going to give this whiskey still a C+. My problem are expectations. If I'm going to pay 170, 200 euros for a bottle of whiskey, I want wow. And I didn't get wow. I got good, but I didn't get wow. And it's a good, almost a very good whiskey, but it's not wow. Value for money, if I'm giving this a C+, I'm going to give it a C- minus D+, actually more of a D+ for value for money. Back then at 120 euros, even that would be the C+ for 17 years of age. But this is not a whiskey that I say, hey, I'm going to go hunt it down. Many, many whiskeys in our life that we just miss. There are certain products out there that I probably will never be able to try because I was too late to the game. Now, the good thing is there are so many whiskeys I can try today that I can't even keep up. And so don't worry. Don't worry. Serendipity will allow you to try a certain whiskey. Just wait. Maybe your friend will have this in his bar and you'll be at his place or her place and you'll just look and say, hey, in the back, there's that Balvenie Doublewood 17. Oh, I only have it for special occasions. Would you like to try it? Oh, yeah. And you try it and go, oh, that's good. It's not wow, it's good. Thank you. Thank you. Check. I have on my mental checklist, those bucket list, those things I want to try. that was something I wanted to try. I've never done a video about this. I've done a lot of different Balvenie products on my German channel. I've done a few on my English channel here as well. It's a distillery that has a certain distillery character that I'm no longer very partial to. At the beginning, that Sherry Wood 12-year-old was one of my whiskeys that I just loved with the Glendronach 12. All right, let's try the Glendronach 12. The old version, yeah, but it does say here Rachel Berry, her name is on it, not Billy Walker's. The first thing I notice is mouthfeel. There's more viscosity. It's creamy. It's very, very, very nice. There's more berries here. There's more raspberries. There's more red plums. There's a little bit more of a cherry moment going in there. What does it say here? Rich, creamy, silky, smooth. Warm, rich oak and sherry sweetness, a mouthful, a full mouthfeel, raisins, soft fruits, spicy, with a medium length and a dry finish. A little bit nutty even. That's good. Would I buy this or would I buy this? I would definitely buy this every day of the week. If you've never watched my channel, I try to compare things with Glendronach 12 a lot, and this is one of my favorite whiskeys. All right, for the value for money. This is my benchmark. If it's better than this, go buy it. If it's not better than this, go buy this. It's the, for you Americans out there, it's Wild Turkey Rare Breed. For you, it's the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. If you can find something better, buy it, but you probably won't. These are just icons of the whiskey industry, in my opinion. And that definitely belongs to it. There's more of a earthy, nutty, woody moment going on here. This is a little bit more milk chocolate. I've had just recently, again, the W.L. Weller 12-year-old. It's thin, and yet there's a nice milk chocolate type of moment. A little bit older, the cask. How long was this first in the whiskey oak? That's a word, isn't it? Whiskey oak. Come on, people. Whiskey oak. So many years of maturation in traditional whiskey cask. Mellow. The maturing spirit imparts warming levels of vanilla spice. Then we go over to sherry oak. Further maturation in European sherry casks, which means it's always a seasoned cask. Increasing complexity, bring fruit, honey depth to the resulting single barrel. Why is this single malt? I'm sorry, single malt. That's the second cask. So Balvenie was one of the very first companies in Scotland to do finishings, do a second maturation in sherry cask. That's a Doublewood. They've been on the market now for at least 30 years, maybe even longer. And I must commend them for starting off that thing. If it's good or bad, I don't know. But today, what would be a whiskey without our finishing casks? At least in Scotch whiskey world. So the last test here. The Glendronach is more my baby there. So my question of the day is twofold. Number one, what is your favorite Balvenie product? And number two is what's on your whiskey bucket list? What's something you'd love to try and haven't had the opportunity yet to try it, and you're hoping that the whiskey gods will grant you this wish? Now, I don't mean a Pappy 23. But hey, I don't mean maybe a BTAC. Well, maybe, who knows. But what is a whiskey that you're going, oh, I would really, if I had the opportunity, I would love to try that. All right, what's on your bucket list of things to try? Thank you very much for watching, liking, subscribing, and telling others about WhiskyJason over here in Germany, reviewing often rare and exotic whiskeys. See you real soon. Bye-bye.